It's winter time. What's up, freaking world? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland, and on this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about all things fragrance related. If you have an interest in that kind of content, you're in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, because I do upload pretty often, at least 2 to 3 times a week, so don't want to miss it. Keep yourself in the loop by hitting that bell. One of my favorite times of the year, the colder seasons. I got this brand new jacket, Banana Republic. Black Friday sales are fantastic. So not only do I love winter fashion, but I also love winter fragrances. We get a chance to bust out some of our richer, sweeter, darker, warmer, more seductive fragrances perhaps. Fall and winter can overlap for sure in terms of fragrance selection, but I think we do like to differentiate because a lot of the times winter can simply be colder, which means that we can wear even stronger fragrances if we choose. It's just a great way for us to continue to share more of our favorite fragrances with you. That's why we can split them down the middle. So I got a few different winter lists. I've already done a little teaser of a cheapie list. I might do another one, we'll see about that. But this is gonna be the niche list. We're doing top 10 niche fragrances. These are gonna be more high-end, more luxury, a little bit more on the expensive side, but more on the complex side, more on the higher quality side of things, more on the more unique side of things. So if you have an interest in those kind of fragrances, if you don't want to smell like everybody else, if you want them to especially have a lot of depth and complexity as they dry down, and maybe even some better performance, then this is probably the video for you. I got a lot of really exciting things to share. I got some new fragrances here that I haven't talked about yet, maybe some that most people aren't talking about, so hope to bring you some new stuff. So with that, let's dive in. I got a few honorable mentions. This first one up, this is coming from Maison Francis Kirkjohn, and this was a decant that was provided to me by a fantastic decant service whom I just reviewed called Decant X. You can check out the video here. I do have a discount there. You can get 15%? I think it's a 15% discount with the code STAYFRESH15 off their already fantastic prices, and they have a fantastic selection. This is called Oud Satin Mood. This is one that I smelled in store years ago. I loved it, absolutely fell head over heels for it. I took home a decant. I put that decant in a bag because I went to the store in Chicago, and then I drove to my home, which was a couple hours away, and somewhere in transit, the decant broke in that bag, and that bag reeked of this fragrance for months in my closet until I just had to throw the bag out because it was too much. This fragrance is beast mode. It is so strong. I just put this atomizer to my nose, which means it's probably gonna be on my nose all night. This is Oud and Rose. A very simple combination, very common combination, but there's some other elements in there. It's powdery, it's sweet, kind of jammy. It is rich, it is woody, but not really stinky as oud can be, or as you might expect. Very elegant, very unisex. Some might say it leans feminine because of the dominant jammy rose note, but I think it's beautiful. One to check out, and real easy to sample over at Decant X. Again, I'll have a link down to them below if you want to use that discount code. It doesn't benefit me, just a little gift for you. Our next honorable mention, this is a fragrance that I don't get much wearing out of these days, but I still love it, and I do hope to wear it more. It's not new, I've talked about it quite a bit, I even reviewed it, but I do want to keep it in the rotation this year. From Bois 1920, this is called Dolce di Giorno. One of my favorites for sure in terms of niche fragrances. Very unique. This is a spicy, woody, sweet, warm plum. Plum, cinnamon, cedarwood. I think there's cypriol in here, which is an oil that comes from the Nagarmatha plant. giving it this kind of dark, almost aged woodiness to it. It's a little unusual, but it's really pleasant. It gets better as it dries down. This is one to check out. Really beautiful. Nothing really smells quite like it other than Costume National Homme, which is similar, only it uses more, I think, of a different spice other than cinnamon, so it has a different character to it. But I love this stuff for the winter. This is Dolce di Giorno, the green juice from Bois 1920. And our last honorable mention here is coming from Roja Parfums. This is just a discovery atomizer. I don't have a full bottle, but this, you could kind of see it as a full bottle. And this is a favorite from the house for sure, loved by as many people. See how dark this juice is? This is what I'm talking about. Wintertime, we can bust this out. This is called Amber Oud, or Amber Oud, I think is how you just say it. This is rich. This is rich stuff. This is very elegant, very much in his style. It has a deep, rich woodiness to it from that oud, but it's in no way fecal or, you know, it's not really in your face all that much, but it has a very warm and sweet ambery accord, kind of vanillic. It also, I think, has a rose note in here. There's a little bit of a freshness. It's a little open, but it is quite dense. It's gonna last a long time. I'm pretty sure this is an extrait or Parfum. Yeah, Parfum concentration, so very, very dense. Very elegant. Also very unisex and quite expensive. So if you're gonna check this out, I would do so via, well, I'll see, Decant X might have it, I don't know, but I'll try to find at least some samples down below to check this out. All right, let's get into the list proper. This is kind of a cheater fragrance because this is not quintessentially wintry or winter time. It doesn't really conjure those feelings or memories at all, but it is a fresher fragrance, but it is beast mode. Complete beast mode. If I had this earlier, this would have made my fresh fragrances for the cold weather because it's just so strong. It pierces through everything. And I think it's good to have a little freshie on your list. Every now and then you don't want to have to deal with these rich, sweet, complex scents. This is still complex, don't get me wrong, but it is not anywhere near as sweet and thick as other fragrances. This is from Amouage, and this is Beach Hut, brand new to my collection. I've loved this fragrance ever since I got a decant from a dear friend. I'm wearing it today. This is an incredible scent. It's so strong. Woods, it's very green, it's woody, it's very minty. There's a little bit of this bitter herbaceousness to it as it dries down. It kind of gets this almost like old school masculine chypre vibe, like has an old school quality to it, almost mossy in a way. It does get a little bit resinous as it dries down with some myrrh in there, and it's earthy with patchouli, but up top, very, very authentic mint. It doesn't smell like the beach, but it does kind of smell like a beach hut, like you're in a wood hut. There's a lot of aromatic herbs around, again, minty, woody. There's some vetiver in here too. So green, galbanum makes it green, I think, as well. Very green, very woody, a little bit warm as it dries, and beast mode. I'm wearing it today, and I'm loving the bubble. I've been wearing it 3 or 4 hours now. This is great stuff. You can check it out at Oceanus. They have a little discount right now. I think you can get 20% off, which is not a personal code for me. I get nothing from that, but I will have a link to them down below. If you want to check out any fragrances, even if you don't want to check this one out, they have a very wide and growing selection of designer and niche fragrances. And again, you can get 20% off. Check them out, link down below. All right, here at number 9, from Roja Parfums, not my favorite. Honestly, a lot of people love this one. I do like it, but I don't love it. I don't find it a pleasant wearing experience, so to speak, but it is an interesting one. This is Creation E, also called Enigma, the Parfum Cologne version. It is by no means an unpleasant fragrance at all. It just doesn't have any facets that truly move my tastes. It has a very interesting, like cognac, like an aged oak barrel cognac vibe, boozy and dark. It has a sweet benzoin. It is a little resinous, maybe a little bit of a freshness in there from some citruses. I'm gonna spray this one. I haven't actually sprayed it on in a while. I think the last time I wore this was probably a year ago, and I did enjoy wearing it. I distinctly remember that wearing of it, but ooh, and it's a little spicy too up top. You know what? This is nice. I gotta wear this again. It has this very sparkling Coca-Cola with rum kind of vibe, but it's more of like a dark cognac. Forget all of what I just said. This is great. You got to check this out. I'll have links down below to sample this. Great for the winter time, very elegant. All right, here at number 8. This is also brand new to my collection. You've probably been seeing a little bit of buzz about this on YouTube. I know Steven from Red Lessons has talked about this one quite a bit. This came out a couple years ago, but it seems to be having this resurfacing right now. And this is from a French house called BDK Parfum. This is called Rouge Smoking. Beautiful juice here. Almost blood red, not quite that dark. But it's more like a maraschino cherry red, which is actually very indicative of the scent. It does have a prominent cherry note. If you've heard anything about this fragrance, you've probably heard that it has similarities to Tom Ford Lost Cherry, which it does. It doesn't have that liqueur vibe. It's nowhere near as syrupy sweet in terms of Tom Ford, and I love the Tom Ford. Beautiful scent. I think I'd like to have that someday. But you do get this like creamy, sweet, vanillic cherry note. It has a little bit of heliotrope, which does lend, again, a vanillic nature, maybe a little bit of an almondy nature, some tonka bean, and it dries down to some warm, kind of leathery musk, labdanum. So you get this vanilla all the way through from top to bottom. At the top, it is fresh with some bergamot. That doesn't last long, but it's not super heavy, not super thick. I don't get amazing performance out of this. In fact, it's kind of hard to smell for me. It doesn't have a ton of presence. Even when I would put it on my hand and smell it up close, I can smell it, but it's kind of elusive. It kind of evades my nose. When I actually wore it on my body, I got a little bit more of a feeling for it. It's very pleasant. It is going to get complimented. It smells very succulent. It's kind of gourmandy, and it's going to get compliments, like I said, for sure. It doesn't wow me. It doesn't blow me away like I was hoping it would, but it does smell very good. And I got this from Quintessence, New York City. I believe they are a boutique who does stock this, and they're one of the few stores, I think, in the States that have it. We're supposed to set up a discount code. I have to verify it with them, but I think by the time this video goes up, the code will be active. So if there is one, it'll be down in the description. Make sure you check that out. Get you a discount. They do carry some other brands that are hard to find here in the States, so I would check them out for sure. I recommend this if you do like Tom Ford Lost Cherry, but it's a little bit too much for you, too potent, too thick. This is a little bit more subdued. Still gonna last a good while on the skin. I gotta give it some more wear. Maybe I just gotta spray more on it. This doesn't have a lot of presence, but I do enjoy the scent. That is Rouge Smoking. From the house of Tom Ford, a classic. This is called Tobacco Oud. Not the most appealing scent, quite polarizing. Man, warm spices, quite spicy. You got some warm, almost ambery spices with that tobacco, which is kind of earthy and dark, with the oud, which is woody for sure. The tobacco and the oud are right up front, but the spices do create a nice little buffer. So it does have some kick to you. It comes to you from a distance for a bit, and it draws you in. There's some sweeter elements in here too. As it dries, it does have kind of a vanillic vibe. I don't remember if vanilla is actually in here. It is pleasant. It's very elegant. You gotta wear this dressed up. I don't think it works otherwise. Unless you just wear it as your signature scent and you're just that confident, it's probably gonna work for you. I just wouldn't wear it in the summertime, but this is really good stuff. A dear friend of mine gifted this to me unexpectedly. I believe it's discontinued, but I will try to see if I can find some samples down below for you to try Tobacco Oud from Tom Ford. Okay, here at the 6th spot, this is brand new. I sampled this a couple weeks ago, basically fell in love with it, and the brand was generous enough to say, hey, we want to send you a bottle of whatever you enjoy. They sent me the Discovery set. Then I told them 2 that really moved me. I really only wanted 1, but they sent me both of them, and I'm so over the moon. I've been obsessed with this collection ever since I first heard about them on Instagram, and I never thought I would own any, and here we are. I got 2. I'm going to talk about one of them later on, maybe towards the spring. But this one here, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for everyone. I'm just going to tell you that now. This is coming from the house of Sarah Baker. You may have heard of Sarah Baker. She's the creative director for this house. And this one is called Charade. Good Lord, this fragrance is bold. Not the boldest from the collection, I would say. There's one for sure that I have in mind that's called Jungle Jezebel that I just don't get along with it. It doesn't get along with me. I'm not gonna get into that. I'll talk about that one later. But Charade, this is classic stuff. It is very classic, very classy, very sophisticated. It has this old school 40s, 50s vibe to it, almost like an old school perfume for women. I feel like older perfumes for women back, 60 years ago, they had a boldness to them. They weren't overly feminine, so to speak. They weren't so flowery and so sweet and so vanillic. They had some heft to them. They had some even maybe animalic nature to them, but that was the thing. I get that vibe here. This starts out it's sweet. There's some sweet florals in here. You got the ylang ylang, but it is a little indolic. There is some tuberose in here. There's a heavy patchouli note in here. You gotta like patchouli. There's almost like a honeyed sweetness in here. It's thick. Again, these indolic white florals, which also kind of add a thick, heady, almost powdery nature to the scent, and almost this animalic funk in the background. It does have some beautiful amber and vetiver as it dries down. The vetiver comes out quite a bit as it dries, and I'm reminded of another fragrance called Embrace Freedom from a house based in Russia called Embrace Perfume. I haven't talked about them in a long time. I used to own a bottle of Embrace Freedom. Unfortunately, as I moved, that bottle broke. I never revealed that information. I didn't even tell the brand. I felt so bad because they're so expensive, and the bottle broke in transit, so I don't have it anymore. But this reminds me of that, but it's a little sweeter, which is actually a little bit more to my taste. Here you got, I think, benzoin in here, which adds a little bit more of a vanillic quality. Again, when you first spray this on, it might be a bit much. Florals, again, indolic florals, honeyed sweetness, but that woody vetiver starts to come out a little bit more as it dries to balance things out, and it becomes so beautiful. And this thing is borderline beast mode. It lasts such a long time on the skin. Perfumer is Andreas Wilhelm, who I think did a phenomenal job. And I think it was Sarah Baker who I saw in an interview once talk about the way that we experience a perfume and how it is more than just smelling. It's more than the olfactory. We engage all the senses. The visual plays a role. The tactile also plays a role. And that is something that I think she's living by with her bottles here. This is incredible. It's metal. It's cold to the touch. You got the logo on the top here. It's like an insert with her logo on the top there, which is also, by the looks of it, metal and maybe wood or something like that. Beautiful cylindrical bottle here. I love how the labels match up when you put them on. Attention to detail and iconic. I mean, she's really trying to stand out here. I love everything about this. I love her philosophy around fragrance. And I love Charade, man. You got to check this out. We will have a discount code available. I'm going to have it down below if you want to get a little bit of a discount off of a discovery set, or if you want to go on a full bottle that you've been eyeing for a while. Check out Sarah Baker. Whew, I'm digging this stuff. Can't wait to wear it this winter time. Okay, here in the top 5, one of the newest releases from my good buddy George Zaharoit. And this one is probably the most appropriate for the colder weather, for the winter time here. You could pull off the original, but this one, it's just in the name. Signature Noir. This is great. It takes that original DNA, that kind of lavender forward, almost fougere-like barbershop DNA, but it darkens it up. It takes away all of the open, fresh notes. All the aromatic notes are not really there anymore. I don't even think there's lavender in here, if I remember correctly. It adds some anise to it, so it is spicy, almost has that licoricey quality, but it still has that DNA that we know and love from the original signature Pour Homme. I did review this collection. You can check out that review here. So that's all I'm going to say about it, but I do recommend Signature Noir for the winter. This is beautiful, so elegant, also has good performance. Check it out. I reviewed this collection several months ago. I don't think many of you saw it because you just weren't interested in the brand, which is okay. It is on the pricey side of things. I do recommend, I don't think they do samples. That's the thing. I don't think they do any kind of discovery set or samples of this collection in their brand. The brand is Amouroud, based in New York City. This is the Elixir collection, and this one's called Golden Oud. Again, unfortunately, I don't think they do samples, which I think they should. More people might be drawn to this one, but it is their higher end. They'll have 2 other collections that are not as expensive, but still incredible. They have a brand spanking new fragrance that they just sent me. I'm not going to talk about it now. I'll talk about it later. It is beautiful. But this one I did review in my Elixir collection review, which you can check out here. Again, Golden Oud it's funny, at the time, this was my least favorite one. Now it's my most favorite one. It is kind of what it sounds like. It's oud. The oud is definitely in there. It has this kind of golden honey quality to it in the smell. To be honest, I don't remember what's in here. You can watch the review if you want to know more. I don't remember what's in here, but it has this almost ambery sweetness to it, almost honeyed in a way, but not quite honey like Charade. But it is based on oud. It does have that familiar oudiness to it if you're looking for it. Very elegant, very unisex. I would check this out if you can. Maybe I'll just try to link some decants if I can down below. That is Golden Oud from Amouroud. Here at number 3, this is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. It's one of my most unique fragrances in my collection. I will always love this. Dang. And it's one of the strongest fragrances I own too. This is called Fan Your Flames from Nichane. And this is such a unique blend of notes. You get a sweet vanilla and tonka bean in here, mixed with some rum and coconut. So it has this kind of boozy, almost tropical drink to it. But again, it's kind of warmed up and made almost more gourmand by the vanilla and tonka bean. Actually, I don't know if there's actually vanilla in here, but tonka bean is definitely in here. It is made a little bit mossy with oak moss, and you do have cedar wood, a heavy cedar wood note. So the way I like to describe this scent is, imagine having a tropical drink, coconut and rum, like a pina colada without the pineapple, with some vanilla in there, inside of like a cedar wood stein, and that's how you're drinking it. I wouldn't drink this, but it's rich. And there's also tobacco, such a strange mix, tobacco as well. It's beautiful, a little smoky, sweet, very woody, a little boozy, and that coconut adds a nice, interesting touch to it. Definitely check this out if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure that Decant X carries this one, so check that out. Here at number 2 from the house of Argos, they're coming out with some new stuff very soon, one of which is not completely new, but they're coming out with a 30 ml version of this fragrance called Triumph of Bacchus, as well as of all their fragrances. They're coming out with 30 milliliter form factors, which look awesome. You can check out a preview of those bottles if you missed my live interview with Christian Petrovich. Check out that interview, I'll link it up there. This is my favorite from the collection, Triumph of Bacchus. Now, a lot of people have complained or have drawn up controversy or conspiracy around the fact that this has similarity to Mancera Red Tobacco. In fact, all the fragrances in Christian's Italian kind of mythology collection do bear resemblance to other niche fragrances, some of them more popular than others. Now, I finally got a sample thanks to another decant company who I'm going to talk about soon in my next installment of Where to Sample Fragrances. They sent me a sample of Red Tobacco, so I did finally smell it. I smelled these side by side, and yes, they are similar. But a lot of what people say about Red Tobacco is true. It is sharper, it's brash, it's not as smooth, it's not as pleasant when you first spray it on. When it dries, it gets pretty nice. But I just prefer Triumph of Bacchus from start to finish. The fruity notes are much more apparent. I love the juicy peach in here. I love the touch of jasmine. It's just a more open palette, and you can kind of detect everything blending together with more space between them. So it just comes off as a little bit more complex to me, which is what I prefer. Beautiful rum note in here, maybe even some tobacco. Gorgeous scent. If you haven't checked any of these out, use my code FRESH10. Get you a sample pack. Get 10% off. Check out Argos. Okay, we're into my number 1 spot. I didn't expect that this would be number 1 because I haven't worn it in a while, but I wore it last night and I was immediately reminded of how much I love this fragrance. I got some pretty intense compliments on it as well. I'm so glad I revisited it because it kind of changed the nature of this whole list. I had to put it at number 1 because I'm like, oh wait, I forgot this stuff is incredible. Man, this is Barkhane, or Barkhane, I'm not sure how to say it. This is from Théo Cabanel. How this comes off to me is resinous, like has a balsamic nature to it. It's a little bit sweet, it's a little dusty, maybe spicy, has a dryness to it, maybe some woods. It's so elegant. I think it has a prominent curry tree note, which adds, again, kind of this almost curry vibe, similar to what Immortelle might do. but much more tame. Adds a bit of this savory nature to it, almost like a food, but it works perfectly. It's beautifully balanced. The sweetness overtakes it a little bit, which I think helps to keep it a very interesting and kind of seductive fragrance, but also very classy. I do enjoy this whole collection. They have a brand new collection, which I'm going to be reviewing soon, most likely on Instagram, but you gotta check out Barkhane. I'm pretty sure Scent City carries this along with the whole collection. You can use my code JCRecommends to get 12% off. You can sample it there. Amazing. Simply amazing. I love this. Everything about it. Everything about it is fantastic. It lasts a good while. Beautiful development as it dries. I just couldn't get enough of the whiffs I was getting as I smelled it. Anyway, check this out. That is Barkhane from Théo Cabanel. Okay, so that is my list. Whew. This is a long video. I don't know how it turned out to be so long. I think when it comes to niche, I just get real passionate and I just want to talk about everything. I tried to censor myself as best as possible, but it all comes out in one way or another. Now it's your turn to let me know, what niche fragrances are you thinking about reaching for this winter? Fragrances that are, again, more on the complex side of things, more unique. They really kind of play to your senses. They might tell stories to you in an olfactory sense. Tell me what those fragrances are. Leave it down in the comments. You know how it goes. If you like the video, yes, we're snapping a lot. Like the video. I really appreciate it. It does help with my visibility across the YouTube platform. If you have not joined the Fresh Squad yet, and you don't know what that is, you might be wondering, well, how do I do that? It's very simple. You hover your mouse or your finger over the subscribe button and you click it one time, not twice. You can click it 3 times if you want, that's fine. You click that and automatically you're a member of the Fresh Squad. Again, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And again, price of admission is free. You can always undo it if you're not happy with it. You can go back and change your decision, but I would love to have your viewership on a regular basis so you never miss a Stay Fresh production. But either way, thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.